Let's start our revision by going over the accounting process. So there might not actually be a question specifically on this, but it is good to know just because it backs up everything that we do. So the first thing is, well, what is accounting? So if you look at the study design, the definition is it's the process of recording, reporting, analyzing, and interpreting financial data and accounting information, which is then communicated to users of this information. So that's how the VCAR study design has put it. What is it specifically? So I guess it's all about taking all these transactions that happen every day, and if on their own you wouldn't be able to answer questions like, how do I make sense of that data? How much cash do I have? How much profit did I make? How much money do I owe? When is it due? What do I own? Has that gone up or down? So what we need is kind of like a big funnel to take all that info and then record it, report it, summarize it, and then produce a balance sheet, an income statement, and a cash flow statement, which is in our course. Also in the real world, an accountant would make a tax return for a client as well. And now the user of this can make some sense of what's actually happened. So what we've learned throughout the year is basically an accounting process. So the first thing we learned is that transactions happened, and then at the beginning of the year we learned to record those in our special journals: cash receipts, cash payments, sales and purchases journal. Also, if something didn't fit in one of those, we then put it in the general journal. Then we put or posted these transactions into the general ledger, and then we did a trial balance, and for a long while that's where we stopped until we got to our first set of balance day adjustments. So that could be things like prepaid expenses, accrued revenues, depreciation, and so on. And then what we do is what's called an adjusted trial balance. Once we've done that, we then produce the three reports: a balance sheet, an income statement, and a cash flow statement, and that kind of summarizes the whole year. I guess there is a seventh step, and that would be we'll now analyze the data and make decisions of it, and we did that when we looked at financial ratios and indicators. The rules of accounting, so that's basically what underpins the entire subject. How can we make sure that accounting system is done in the same way, so every business is playing by the same rules? And we divided that into 4 qualitative characteristics and 7 accounting principles. So we'll go through those in separate videos. There's no point trying to do them all in one. What we might want to look at now though is find a way to remember it. So remember first of all, each item or each theory, and importantly, whether it's a qualitative characteristic and accounting principle. Now to do that, there's many ways. So you've got to find the way that works for you. For example, you might like to use acronyms or mnemonics, whereby you give the first letter of each term, you use that first letter and attach it to something that means something for you. So for me, how I was taught was to learn it RRCU, which on its own doesn't mean anything. So then I attach something to it that I would remember. So in this case, I'm going to use NBA basketball players. You use whatever works for you. So it could be friends' names, it could be the names of books, it could be songs that you heard, anything really. It doesn't matter what it is, just as long as it helps you remember. So for me, I remember relevance as Rose for Derrick Rose, Rubio for reliability, that's Ricky Rubio. Comparability is Stephen Curry, and understandability is Beno Idrich. So for me, I don't remember relevance, reliability, comparability, understandability. I remember Rose, Rubio, Curry, Udrich, and that way I can then sort of backtrack and go, well, what was the Rose? What did Rose stand for? What did Curry stand for? And so on. With the accounting principles, that's going to be even more challenging because there's more of them. So again, I remember through a mnemonic. However, that doesn't mean anything. I can't remember that without sort of attaching each letter to something. So again, I'm going to use basketball players. You use whatever works for you. So I'm going to attach E to Dante Exum, H to James Harden, G to Blake Griffin, R to Rajon Rondo, M to Timofey Mozgov, C to Mike Conley, and C to DeMarcus Cousins. And now my job's a lot easier. All I've got to do now is remember 7 basketball players, and that'll help me remember the accounting principles.